Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this webinar hosted by the USAID Trade Hub in collaboration with the African Trade Platform, Netcampus Financial Solutions. And we're definitely hoping that it presents that ATP, the African Trade Platform, and Netcampus platforms to the Angolan farms. And the goal is also to ensure that it then gives them an opportunity to start registering on these two platforms. I am your moderator this afternoon, and my names are Hans Badiamjura, and I'm based in the South African office of the Southern Africa Trade and Investment Hub, which is a USAID-funded project. To get us started this afternoon, I'll welcome Mr. Alan Hackner, who is the contracting officer. Contracting officer's representative, and from the USAID Hub. Over to you, Alan.
Great, thank you, Hans, and good afternoon, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here today, and thank you all for your interest and participation in this webinar. As Hans mentioned, my name is Alan Hackner. I'm based in the USAID Southern Africa Regional Economic Growth Office in Pretoria, and I'm responsible for managing the USAID Southern Africa Trade and Investment Hub. The USAID Hub, or Trade Hub, engages with partners across the region to increase sustainable economic growth, global export competitiveness, and trade in targeted Southern Africa countries, and in this case, Angola. There's often a disconnect in most African markets between suppliers, buyers, and other stakeholders within trade transactions, and Angola is no exception. Many international buyers do not have access to Angolan products, and they're often faced with the challenge of receiving product quotations from various origins, as well as a laborious process of generating logistics quotations to reach their final destination. This lack of information and associated transactional bottlenecks play a significant role in determining the final cost of a product and service. On the other hand, African suppliers find it challenging to reach the right buyers for their products and to understand the requirements of the destination markets. Similarly, some basic financial knowledge on the requirements to complete an investment memorandum is not always easily accessible, or businesses do not know how this should be done in cases where they have not had any practical experience when dealing with financial services providers. USAID, through the US Trade Hub, recognizes these challenges and is working with market players to identify and resolve these enterprise constraints. The USAID Trade Hub has focused on three market segments: capital provision, transaction advisory services, and financial education solutions, where constraints exist, and is working with its partners to facilitate market-based solutions that could be scaled up and remain operational beyond the existence of the USAID Trade Hub. To achieve this, the USAID Trade Hub has partnered with SEBVEST Capital Partners, a South African-based financial service provider, and Netcampus, a South African-based education service provider. Both SEBVEST and Netcampus bring experience and interest to provide innovative solutions to export firms in 9 USAID Trade Hub-focused countries, including Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, and Zambia. SEBVEST Partners has designed the Africa Trade Platform as one of the tools that can support the scaling up of capital provision and access without significantly increasing the cost of delivery. The USAID Trade Hub has supported SEBVEST marketing efforts to attract exporters and other market actors to join the trade platform. Netcampus, on the other hand, has designed the learning management system as a digital platform where learners can access financial education models. The US Trade Hub has supported the development of 10 financial education models, and a further 2 modules are currently under development. Today's webinar is to present these 2 attractive propositions to Angola-based firms. It is also an opportunity to promote the registration of Angola exporters and learners onto these platforms. This is, in essence, another contribution to the development efforts of USAID in Angola's broader economy. To our partners who have developed the African Trade Platform, SEBVEST, and the digital financial learning solution, Netcampus, we say thank you and all the best with this innovative work. We look forward to seeing the platforms develop further into sustainable businesses that will maintain and expand the impact of USAID's investment in the region as a whole, beyond the life of the Trade Hub project. In conclusion, I'd like to thank you all for joining this webinar, and I hope that you enjoy and find benefit in the conversations and discussions that will be forthcoming. Thank you. Back to you, Chair.
Thanks, Alan. And before I call upon our next speaker, I just have to apologize that yes, we do have some house rules that I skipped as we got started. So let me quickly run through those so that we are all clear of those. One is that we are recording all sessions. And for the English speakers, please remain in this main channel. And for the Portuguese speakers, please go to the interpretation window where you should be able to select, you will be able to select Portuguese as your option, language option. And please post any questions that you may have in the chat, and we'll pick it up. And please keep your mics muted and unmute when speaking. And thank you very much. I hope that clarifies, and I apologize for having skipped that. So we'll now move on to the next speaker, and here I'll call upon Julie Nenon from the USAID, the USAID Angola country representative, to give us some opening remarks. Over to you, Julie.
Yes, good morning. Boa tarde. Como está? So I'm going to say a few things up front. Is one, I arrived in the United States extremely late last night. So I'm a little bit tired, and I'm staying at a friend's house, and there's cats. So if you see a cat coming in and out of the screen, just consider it an extra participant. So again, good afternoon. It's my pleasure to join you today for this very important webinar. As I said, my name is Julie Nenon, and I'm the USAID country representative for Angola. The United States Agency for International Development, more commonly known as USAID, through the Southern Africa Trade and Investment Hub, also more commonly known as the Trade Hub, is supporting economic growth efforts in 9 southern countries, and we're very happy that this now includes Angola. The Trade Hub program, which started in 2016, has facilitated more than in African intra-regional trade and exports to the United States. This is including through the African Growth and Opportunity Act, better known as AGOA's Preference Program. They've also facilitated $177.2 million in private sector investment. This is about $114 million in agriculture and about $63 million in non-agriculture. $16 million in agricultural-related finance, and they formed 63 public-private partnerships, creating 1,448 new jobs across the region. The USAID Trade Hub has amongst its goals in Angola to support Angolan companies to export in the region, and also target products that have regional processing linkages with the ultimate goal of exporting to the United States. The Trade Hub will also assist the private sector to create business linkages and enhance their capacity to export value-added quality products to the United States under AGOA. I am therefore very proud to welcome the USAID Trade Hub to Angola. As you join our Southern African neighbors, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, and Zambia, in taking advantage of the broad-based trade hub programs to support economic growth and economic diversification. The United States government, through the USAID Trade Hub, seeks to work in partnership with the Angolan government and the private sector. This is to support the export of goods proudly made in Angola to the world through the integrated objectives of increasing exports out of Angola and increasing investment of capital and technology into Angola. To achieve this, the USAID Trade Hub partnered with Subvest Capital Partners, a South African-based financial service provider, and Netcampus, also a South African-based educational service provider, to advance innovation and trade across the region. This is being done through the African Trade Platform and the Netcampus Digital Financing Learning Solution. And you're going to hear more about this later. The U.S. government is very proud, the U.S. government is very much invested in the sustainability of this program's impact beyond the life of the USAID Trade Hub, which is going to draw to a close in September 2022. They're doing this, focusing on sustainability, so that the Trade Hub will continue to deliver impact long after the program is closed, thereby ensuring the lasting economic advancement in Angola. One of the approaches that the USAID Trade Hub is adopting is to digitize tools and networks in the form of a trade portal linking exporters, importers, and other market actors, as well as through webinars and virtual events such as this. This event here today is an example of what we're talking about. Further, over the next couple of months, the USAID Trade Hub will be looking into establishing relationships with trade promotion service providers and business membership organization partners, to whom the USAID Trade Hub will transfer networks and relationships and provide support to execute trade and investment activities. Before I close, I would also like to extend a note of thanks and appreciation to all the firms who joined us today for this seminar. I encourage you to engage with the materials and resources which will be shared with you, and urge you to boldly take a step forward towards fully capitalizing on the platform's offerings. Your efforts in overcoming the challenges presented by the global COVID-19 pandemic and continuing to grow your business and advance new market opportunities where possible are particularly noteworthy. I wish you all continued good health as you work hand in hand towards the enduring economic prosperity of Angola. Thank you, and I wish you all fruitful learning and discussion. Have a good day.
Thanks, Julie. We appreciate the welcome, the opening remarks. And to everyone, we apologize for the quality of the sound, but definitely we could hear the message clearly, Julie, and thank you very much. We'll now move on to our next presenter, and the presentation will be from Netcampus. I'll call upon Henk to come onto the screen. Henk is representing Netcampus, and Henk serves Netcampus as operations manager. Henk has well over 20 years experience in knowledge management, and of which 14 years have really been focused more on information technology, in the information technology industry, which have tended to focus more into training and development of training material. And he's here to highlight those skills through what they have put together for Netcampus. Over to you, Henk.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for the introduction. So basically, if we look at our component, which is the digital financial training solution, which we have been tasked with to develop, is basically encompassing the general, the general needs which a SME or a potential investor into the external countries or into the US market will encounter, as well as building the organizational capacity as in terms of knowledge and a bit of background. So to start off with, we are from a company called Netcampus, like we were introduced as, and we are basically at a glance a South African-based company with a footprint across South Africa, as well as presence within the African continent. So we are training staff, we're training different organizations, basically in ICT skills, as well as in various, we call it soft skills. So the softer skills is the life skills, as well as the types of skills which we are hoping to, which we are transferring basically through this program. And this is, in this case, is basic financial acumen, but also basic background around the different program, around the different topics, as well as challenges which we might encounter as an SME or small and medium business. So we've been tasked about, I think in last year, we've been tasked through the USAID South African Trade and Investment Hub, we've been tasked to develop a financial program, which is basically looking at the small and medium enterprise, as well as looking to expand, as well as businesses looking to expand within the region in terms of export abilities. So the 10 foundational modules that we've started this program on is basically based at the introduction to the entire world out there, if I can put it like that, which we look at challenges around the COVID pandemic, challenges around exports, what the small and medium enterprise is. So we're covering the basics, and then we're moving on to more, I would say, advanced topics such as funding and financing sources. So that is, for example, where to find, as a small and medium enterprise, where to go and look for potential investors or to look for different opportunities. So it's not looking at your traditional channels, which might be your banks and finance providers, but there's different options which the small and medium enterprise can look for and look at. So those topics are basically covered in that module, and then we look at topics like supply chain management. We look at introduction to basic business plans, because you cannot, as a small business, look for opportunities or funding opportunities or expansion opportunities within a region without having a plan. So we're looking at the basics around that. Basic financial reporting, as well as interpreting your financial statements. And we're also looking at topics like how you're going to prepare to meet with a capital provider, because a lot of the small enterprises don't have exposure yet to capital providers, as well as the needs. What the capital provider would like to see in a small and medium enterprise, and that is basically just preparing the small business for that. Like has been mentioned earlier as well, we're looking to expand this within the next couple of months with 2 additional modules, which will basically look from a capital provider's perspective to see what they're looking for within a small and medium enterprise, as well as all the different, I would say the different administrative tasks and topics which is required basically when you want to apply for funding, if I can put it like that. So if you look, but this is mostly generic modules because each of the different countries within the region have different business, different governance structures which are governed by the different countries' laws and legal systems, as well as within the Southern African Trade and Development region. So there's different topics and different areas which we need to have a look at. So this just provides you with basic guidance. So all this content is can be accessed through the Netcampus Vending Management System, or in short, we call it the LMS. So what happens is we load you as a user or as a learner onto the system. So we just need, for example, your email address and the basic detail, and from there on you can manage and access this content for a period of 3 months. And complete the modules at your own pace and at your own time. You can also view your own progress. You can go and review the modules as many times as you like. And the modules are also available in mobile format. All these modules have audio as audio options. It's available in English at this stage, but we're also looking at translating it into Portuguese because of our Mozambican as well as Angolan audience which we have. So at this stage it is just English, but coming soon we look at the different options which will be available in terms of language. So over and above that, the content is accessed basically through we call it our V Academy. So that's our digital platform, our e-commerce platform. At this stage, there's other modules as well, which is available on other course topics. And this is basically, we'll make this content available to everyone, the whole program, up to the end of December at free of charge. So if we look, for example, at registering, it won't cost you anything. I think there's a flyer which has been distributed, and on the flyer there is a login details as well, not login details, registration information, as well as detail around applying a discount voucher if you want to apply through the V Academy, or you can just send us an email to support@netcampus.com. That detail is all available on the flyer, which can be distributed after the session, and you can more than welcome to get in touch with us around that. My last slide is just basically around that there's other computer and soft skills courses available as well on the platform, and those will be at the charges in South African Rand value. But this current modules, these 10 modules, soon to be 12, will be available up to the end of December. So anyone who registers up to the end of December will have access to this content for the period of 3 months at no charge at all. So I think it's great value and a great stepping stone to move into the market and keep getting more exposure around what to expect. That's all from my side. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Henk, and we definitely appreciate. Thanks for your time and sharing the presentation on Netcampus. And also because we've had this solution running within the other countries, we have the honor of hosting Nelto Mobuso, who is going to share with us his experience with using the Netcampus solution. Nelton has a strong passion for agriculture, and through that he's been keen and has established JSN Agri Business Holdings that's really aimed at providing solutions to farmers. Nelson, please share with us your experience on utilizing this Netcampus platform.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nelson Mobuso. I'm economist and CEO at GSN Agri Business Holdings. So I don't know, maybe it will be advisable as in a Portuguese country, speaking, as you are launching the Netcampus to Angola, which is a Portuguese-speaking country, maybe it will be advisable or better for me and for Angola participants to to speak in Portuguese. I don't know if you allow me to do that.
Yes, Nelto, feel free, please speak Portuguese.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
And yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon once again. Now I'm speaking in Portuguese. As I was saying, I'm Milton Medus, the CEO at GSN Agribusiness Holding. I'm here to share my experience with Netcampus. Allow me to begin by saying that the registration process did not have any constraints with the HAPO team in Mozambique. Through Ms. Zonorat and Katia, they were very helpful. They supported us in the whole process, the whole registration process. It was simple, easy. From Netcampus website, I could register my credentials, and it was easy to access the course. These e-learning platforms have many advantages. They give us flexibilities to study in any part in the world, as long as we have access to the internet, a good network. It is comfortable. We save time, we save money. It is a new way of seeing the world and also of learning. It was very good, and I did not have any constraints. The modules presented by Netcampus are very good. They are very rich. They are well structured, mainly for companies such as mine. My company works with trade of agricultural commodities. And for me, it was very helpful. I could learn new opportunities, such as which is a long-term initiative. It is very useful to have access to this knowledge. We also have the knowledge of we have access to the contents, how to make business plans, and it's very good. I do recommend. I also have to say it is a very efficient platform. The connectivity is also very good. The explanation of the content as we move on, as we learn, is very good. There are moments when someone cannot go to the following stage unless if he has not passed the previous stage. It's very interactive. It's very good.
Menos de uma semana para completar os 10 módulos. Estudo diariamente, então é muito fácil para mim.
It is easy for me to dedicate 1 or 2 hours per day. So I completed this program in a week, in less than a week. I think that in medium or long term, we can feel the benefits of these programs, as well as the exposures with other programs. Many programs, many tools that we can use through the program, So it's a very good program. I do recommend to businessmen from Angola, mainly those in the business area. So I do recommend it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nelto. Thanks for your time and thanks for sharing your experience with the Netcampus learning solution. Well, we now have we're open for questions. If any questions or areas for clarity to Netcampus in terms of any areas you would want Henk to clarify on. Thank you.
I've posted in the chat also how you can register if you have registration requests. In the chat, I've just said support@netcampus.com. You can just send an email, and then we'll just need your basic information, and we can register you as soon as possible. You'll receive confirmation immediately via email, and the confirmation, and then basically have access to the system the whole time. And then the voucher detail, which you can use basically for discount, that can be accessed through, we'll share the flyer with you to do that. But if you send us a registration request to support@netcampus.com, we do all the admin and paperwork for you. So we simplify the process, like Milton has said, just to get you up and running as soon as possible.
Thanks, Henk. I don't see any hand. Do you have any questions? So if we don't have any questions, we can always still try and take it at the end. So to save time, I'll call upon Warwick Blamey, who is the CEO of the African Trade Platform, but also Group Executive of Self-Based Capital Partners, and should I say the parent of the African Trade Platform. Warwick has been very instrumental in designing and setting up the African Trade Platform, and continues to drive its improvements and ensuring that it gets full utilization. And I'm sure he will share the details around that. Warwick, over to you.
Thank you, Hans. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our presentation. Thank you very much for the starts from Netcampus. It was very interesting on what you had to say. Just an overview, if I can just kick off from our side. It's the African Trade Platform. So we partnered with USAID, Southern African Trade and Investment Hub, just to better understand the working capital, trade finance and investment needs throughout sub-Saharan Africa, with businesses exporting to South Africa and the United States. The African Trade Platform was structured with the premise of linking buyers, sellers of specific products. So that's buyers who could be within sub-Saharan Africa or around the rest of the world, with suppliers of products. We found there's a big need and a big gap missing throughout sub-Saharan Africa and the rest of Africa, with a disconnect between buyers and sellers. So what we've created from an African Trade Platform is a structure of an innovative marketplace that utilizes state-of-the-art algorithms to match trade stakeholders within a transaction, enabling efficiency in the trades process. So what that actually means is that a buyer, multiple buyers will be onboarded onto the platform, and you've got multiple sellers. Our backend utilizes algorithms to match potential transactions dependent on the specifications, price, location, etc. Could we go to the next slide, Hans? So from a day-to-day perspective, if you look at any buyer or supplier or financier in the market, take for an example a buyer sitting in the USA. Now you have a seller of a product in Angola. How does the buyer know where the seller is? How do they find the buyer? How does the buyer find the seller? Is the supplier real? Are they genuine? What price do I offer to that seller? Can I trust the seller? Is the product guaranteed? What would be the cost of that product to wherever I am in the USA? Can I get trade finance for the product? So these are all questions that go through the mind of a buyer who's sitting overseas. Then on the other hand, you've got sellers of products. So for an example, you're in Angola and you're looking to sell your product. How do I know what price to sell my product at? How can I find a market? How do I find a direct market and not go through 50 different middlemen to get my product to its end buyer? What price will I get for my product? The processes around exporting your product to the USA. The big question here is, am I going to get paid? I mean, we've heard of so many horror stories in the past of buyers insisting that sellers ship their product to the buyers before they receive payments, and the buyer ends up not getting paid, or the supplier doesn't end up getting paid, or the buyer receives the product and makes up an excuse around the product specification and says they're not going to pay for the product, and that product now is already sitting thousands of kilometers away. Then you've got your financiers. How do I increase my pipeline? Financiers are always looking for transactions, always looking for new deals to structure. How do I generate my pipeline? Options to de-risk the transactions that they're actually doing. And then the verification and collateral management services, whereby financiers are always needing to do their due diligence and verify certain participants within the value chain. Could we go to the next slide, Hans? So it's, from a benefits perspective, from a benefits perspective, the African Trade Platform is for everyone, which is it's a bit different to many other platforms. We've left it very open-ended. Anyone can join. It's not a structure where it's selective. We invite all participants from whatever it's part of the actual value chain you're servicing. Centralized depots, systems available for rural suppliers, with no product certification or Wi-Fi connection. So the structures that we've got in place to assist participants who are small scale and require to aggregate products before exporting. The African Trade Platform markets certain products on behalf of entities, and I think this is where one of the big value adds come, is that not all suppliers know how to get to the end market, and that's the link that we are setting up with ATP, is linking that disconnect. So we do assist in marketing various products to suppliers, as long as they conform to the specifications and general price range in the markets. Another big benefit is our access to markets are throughout the world. We don't just concentrate on one location. We've got buyers from every continent, excuse me. Buyers are from every continent all around the world in multiple industries, sectors, etc. The supplier confidentiality, we keep that confidential, as well as on the buyer side. The reason that we keep it confidential has just got to do with the structure of the platform. That we help manage the entire process, and we need to do our verifications before anything is opened up to the various participants. Throughout our platform, there's full transparency with various transactions. It's between buyer and seller. Could we go to the next slide, Hans? So the ATP from a due diligence perspective, that is probably one of our, besides the linking through the algorithms and the structure of the actual platform, our due diligence that we do on the buyers, sellers, the product verifications, it is probably our biggest value add, besides the linking of the actual participants. If you're a buyer and you're sitting in the USA, how do you know that a product is real? How do you know that the company or person that you're dealing with is real? How do you know that even if the person is real and the product's real, that the product that you've bought is the actual product that you're going to receive? Who does that due diligence? Who does that on your behalf? So that's a big it's a part of the platform, is our process that we run from a verification perspective, a due diligence, the research, the verification that we do on the actual product, the processes, the verification from an export certification perspective. There's a lot that goes into each transaction that gives comfort to the buyer who's sitting often very, very far away. And then from a supplier perspective, we bring out the value add comes in the payment structure, where we often utilize our escrow accounts, the ATP verified structured accounts, whereby it acts in the form of an escrow. It's our LC structures, letters of credit, the way that we manage the transaction on to protect the supplier from non-payments from the actual buyer. So ATP then acts as the partner in between the buyer and seller, protecting each partner to make sure that the transaction actually conforms to the pre-agreed sales and purchase agreement. Could we go to the next slide, Hans? The platform fees, which is obviously a big question that we get asked. There's no cost to register onto the platform. Trade fees are only applicable once a transaction actually goes through. Our fees range from 1% to 6%. We've actually had a few going through now at 0.5%, but those are generally your large bulk transactions where vessels are concerned. But the standard rates are 1% to 6%, dependent on the product itself, the volume, and the work that actually goes into it from ATP. So that just gives you a general price range and that charges at 1% to 6% on the revenue of the transaction. Could we go to the next slide, Hans? African Trade Platform, we're busy structuring and putting into place a reward system that will reward various participants on the actual platform for different behaviors. It's for different responses. It's products that are actually loaded. It's the timeliness of product, correct information, non-misleading information. So the more participants transact, and the more honest participants are, and the more efficient they are, the higher their reward will be, and in turn, buyers and sellers or participants on the platform will want to do more business with the various buyers and sellers. So that's it should be launched in the next couple of weeks, and that process initiated. You could go at the platform status levels. So you get different levels when you come onto the platform. So status 1 is a viewer member. So this is just when you've logged in and put your password in. You then move to a registered member, which you can then view all the products and deals. Here you've got more specific information regarding to your company. And from there you'll be accepted as a registered member. And then finally, a verified member. So this is when we've done our due diligence on you. We've ascertained that you actually are a real buyer or a seller, that you have been trading, that you are real and are ready to transact. And that's when a verified member is set up. Go to the next slide, Hans. To initiate the sign up, you'd log on to African Trade Platform. And there's a big sign up sign. It's in the middle of the page, or you can go to one of the tabs. Once you press that, it's like any other log on and sign up page. You'll need your email address and password to sign in. You'll then receive a link, and then there'll be a process that continues from there. Next slide, Hans. This just gives you an idea of what the platform would look like. So it's broken down into to bulk agri, minerals, energy, and packaged foods. You may want to buy, if you're a buyer and you're looking for beans, you click on beans. It'll give you all the various transactions from a beans perspective. If you want to acquire beans, you'll then, if there's a transaction you're wanting to go ahead with, you run through the process. You'll then get taken to a dummy invoice to show you what it would look like, a sales and purchase agreement, depending on what terms you would like to put forward to the seller first. And then from there, the transaction will continue from a back-end perspective with the ATP team. So there's a full structured process that we move through from that side. If you could go to the next slide. So from the product specification, this is just what a typical transaction would look like. And there you've got your price, your volume. It just gives you a few specifications on the actual transaction. If you do want to carry on, then you would go buy a product, and then it would take you through the processes. Just to be clear, when you do go through buy the product from a buyer's perspective, it only gives you a draft sales and purchase agreements and a draft invoice. There obviously a lot more that goes into a transaction than simply running through it in a couple of minutes. But it does kickstart the process and takes you through that structure. From a product inquiry side, if there's something on the platform, if there's something you're looking for as a buyer, or you're wanting to sell something as a seller and it's not on the platform, you can come on to the product inquiry side. These are for a lot of niche products, something that there hasn't been previously. It's a big demand on our platform. So here you'll go through, give your product inquiry, and from there that'll come to the team. And we've actually done a few transactions through the product inquiry page where we found a few buyers inquiring about a certain product, and we've saved that onto our database and CRM system. A seller has come on and inquired about selling a certain product. It hasn't been on the platform, but a transaction's actually gone through. So that's what the product inquiry form is for. If we go to the next slide, the logistics is a huge part of any transaction. If you've ever done a trade, you'll know that you've got a product cost and then you've got your logistics cost. And what we're doing is streamlining the quotation perspective, because if you're a buyer in the USA and you see a certain product, let's say it's a product coming from a coffee coming from northern side of Luanda, and you wanting to buy a coffee and you want to now compare it with coffee coming from from Kenya. The product prices might be exactly the same price, but if you're going to the east coast of the USA, the logistics might be double from Kenya than what it is from Luanda. So there you're comparing apples with apples, and that's what the logistics side that gives to the actual platform. If we could go to the next. From a finance perspective, if you're looking for finance, trade finance, invoice discounting, purchase order finance to assist you with the transaction, this is the page that you would go to for a finance request, and that would then get sent through. Depending on how the algorithms would work, it would match up with financiers who would have pre-populated their information into the platform on what they're looking for from a pipeline perspective. This is the process that would be followed, and from there that would go through and contact would be made and a process started. So yeah, with the support of the USAID's Southern Africa Trade and Investment Hub, we'd like to thank you for this opportunity to introduce ATP. We're looking forward to growing our business on the Angolan side. There's a lot of opportunity that we've seen coming out of Angola with the recent changes and structures within the political side in Angola. It's very, very positive. There are a lot of participants wanting to do business with Angola, and it's something that we really, really look forward to. We'd just like to say thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to present. Thank you.
Thanks, Warwick. And just like we had in the case of Netcampus, we also have a business that is been using the African Trade Platform, has gained practical experience, and this is Investex Agro from Mozambique, and we have the co-founder with us here, Sena Dawood, and I would ask her to join us. Sena Dawood is co-founder of Investex Agro. She's gained or holds expertise and knowledge in the fields of education, capacity building, training, and development of social programs, and also an active business strategizer, and serves as a consultant in a number of opportunities for training and business development, women empowerment. Sena, could you please come on camera and share your experience with using the African Trade Platform?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Olá, boa tarde a todos e aceitam calorosas saudações a partir de Moçambique.
Please receive warm greetings from Mozambique. My presentation will be in Portuguese. I will present in Portuguese to share very well our experience of our use experience of the platform. IVXT Agro Investments was founded in 2015, and it is a social company managed by 3 entrepreneurs. One is Marie Nombor, Fatmaja, Ismael, and I. Our organization has as the main goals to help local agricultural communities, maximizing their resources for them to increase their incomes through agro-processing, trading, import and export, also considering all the agribusiness value chain. In the scope of our agriculture and food security we designed strategies to ensure the trade value of this culture and of these crops, and we are now working with associations in different provinces in Mozambique. We are talking about Zambezi, Nampula, and Niassa, and we also have offices in Maputo. We have been trading and working with communities in the rice, maize, and beans. Through the trade app, we could register in our platform, and this platform has opened perspective to increase potential clients and also for import and export within the Southern African and out of the Southern African region. It is important that the informations are updated. Information about the products, the available products, information about the organizations, among other information that we think are relevant to attract the potential clients. We have now ongoing conversations with clients in Rwanda. We haven't done business through the platform because we have recently registered, but the level of response, the speed of response, and in terms of acceptability are very positive. For us, it's a very interesting experience. We do expect to continue working with the platform and to do business. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sana. Thanks for sharing your experience.
Thanks, Sana, for.
Can we have any questions to African Trade Platform, to Warwick? Areas for clarification. And Warwick, also in the few minutes, please feel free to jump in if there is some point you would want to highlight that you probably skipped in your earlier presentation.
Thank you, Hans. One thing that I did want to make was one thing that we can also push with new entrants from Angola is that we'd also welcome anyone who's looking to sell products and they're just wanting to inquire from our side and just get some advice on whether there is a international market for their products. Come forward, send us an email or put an inquiry on through the platform. Let us start the conversation with yourselves and get the ball rolling. We would then be able to assist and give the experts advice on what our thoughts are with your specific products and where potential markets could be from an international perspective.
Thanks. Thank you, Warwick. And Warwick, as we probably wait to see if we'll have any questions from the participants on. Warwick, tell me, what would be your thoughts around, say, a client that is coming on seeking to register on your platform, but doesn't have any export or limited export experience to South Africa or to the US? What would be your advice to such a firm?
Thanks, Hans. You know, that's one of the big roles that the African Trade Platform plays, is that we'll assist you if you've never exported a product before. From an ATP perspective, we'll run through the process. We'll give advice. We'll show you exactly what's needed from a verification, certification perspective to actually get your products cross border. Dependence on the product. Some products are very complex. Some are a lot easier. So there's no one set rule for any one product. Every product you have to view in isolation, and that's where we would give advice and help run that process for you. So just because you haven't exported a product before does not mean that you can't, and does not mean that you won't be able to. So that's a value add that the ATP would bring to that process.
Thanks, Warwick. And I see there is I think a question or some remark in the do you have any questions in the chat in Portuguese?
This is a remark saying that we can post the questions in the chat.
Give a good description of his experience. But could you just highlight to us what would be the process? For example, if I register for the course, do I have to, I know Nelto said it took him a week to complete. What's the maximum time in which I can complete a course? If my network connection drops in the middle of a module, do I have to start from the beginning, or am I able to continue from where I had reached?
Sure, not a problem. Yes, some of the functionality which we've built in is basically to assist you as a user or a learner, so that you don't need to restart a module again when you've maybe lost connectivity or when your day job calls, because a lot of us are doing this maybe in between or in the evenings, and then we're struggling to get to it. So you just, when you exit the module, you can start the module again right from where you've ended off with. And also, when the modules in total, it will take you about, it's an hour per module at most if you do it in one sitting. Some are shorter, some will be like 20 minutes or less to do. So it depends on basically what your schedule is like, and the system and your planning can basically work around that, because you have, let's say, 90 days to complete this, let's say 8 to 10 hours in terms of modules. So you can even do it in 1 hour bites or in bite sizes, so you can do only one section in a module as well, because like Norton has mentioned as well, it won't allow you to continue to the next section if you didn't finish the one. So you continue up to the questions, and then you complete the questions, and you can take a break and come back and do the rest again of the module. Or in some cases, you can also go and practice what you've seen in the module. So that will also assist you greatly to apply what you're learning, because we don't just want to learn in parrot fashion. We want to apply and see what it looks like and how it works. And that is also quite useful. Thank you, Hans.
Thanks, Henk. Any questions from the floor?
I have a question for Henk about Netcampus.
Yes, please go ahead. Sorry, just introduce yourself, give us a name, the firm, and then go ahead with your question. Thank you.
Okay, I am Siana Dawood. I'm from Mozambique and from Agroinvestimentos. Henk, I sent an email to this email what you
support.
So I would like to know if I am from Mozambique, if I have, I'm still on time to apply on these courses.
Yes,
I know some of models is running, but I have to start from the start from the beginning.
No, it's not a problem, because I know that you are registered on the platform. I remember your surname because it was quite interesting to me. So you can basically complete the modules still within your own time. There is some modules which you've done, and there's some modules which you still need to do. So you're still in time and there's no problems. You can still do it. I think the benefit of some of the people who registered earlier is that you still have access up to end of December as well. So it doesn't, you're not limited by that. Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, Sina. But if you have any requests or anything, just send us an email and we can always take into consideration if you do have challenges to complete the modules. Mr. Chair, I see Nick's got his hand up.
Thanks, Henk. Nick, please introduce yourself and go ahead with your question.
Thank you very much, Hans. My name is Nick Christoforou. I actually work with the USA Trade Hub out of our Pretoria office. My question is to Henk from Netcampus. Henk, when you complete the course, is there any formal recognition that you get that you can use to possibly include in your CV?
Yes, indeed. So at the end of each module, you get a certificate. So the certificate is also available on your profile. So you can download the certificate and you can use it basically on your CV if you want to, or you can print it out and use it or save it basically in one of your portfolio files or so. So each of the 10 modules have got the certificate associated. Sorry, I keep on forgetting, soon to be 12.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick, and thanks, Henk. Warwick, just another question for you on the African Trade Platform. I think in the presentation, you've mentioned that there are various services that are provided. And I know one common question or frequently asked question is one around verification of buyers. So I am an Angolan-based firm exporting some products to South Africa or the US. Are you able to support the verification of the buyer to determine whether what comfort will you give me that my buyer is actually genuine?
Thank you, Hans. So from our side, the buyers go through the full onboarding process where we do our due diligence on the actual buyers just to make sure that they aren't tire kickers, that they actually are genuine, and that they have actually done transactions in the past. So there's a with the actual buyer himself. But now when we get to the actual transaction, we need proof of funds from the buyer, depending on the size of the transaction. If it's got to do with a couple of containers, often the buyer will deposit the funds into our secure payments escrow account. And once we've received those funds, we then send the seller proof of funds to show them that the funds are with us and that the funds are available. So there are multiple processes and steps that we run through on our side to make sure that the buyer is genuine, and it all depends on the stage of the transaction.
Thanks, Warwick. Yes, so Nick, please take the floor.
Thank you, Hans. A question to Warwick on the ATP. Warwick, if I have a business and I register onto the platform and I go through the verification process and I want to begin trading, I want to sell my product. I'm looking for somebody who would buy my product. Do I have to reach out to buyers or will the system assist me to do just that?
Thanks, Hans. Thanks, Nick, for the question. From a platform perspective, our system will find the buyers for you. If there are buyers that have selected options that then the will do their work in the background to match various participants for that transaction. So if you're a seller, it may match you with 20, 30 buyers, for an example, and those buyers then will receive a notification that a product has been launched on the platform that fits their criteria for something they're looking for, and from there the process would continue. So to answer the question directly, no, as a seller you wouldn't have to do anything.
Thank you.
Thanks, Warwick. And well, I would say that one point would be that the Mozambican fans or participants from from Angola, my apologies, please feel free to reach out to the USA Trade Hub or directly to Netcampus or the African Trade Platform for any other questions that you may have. And both platforms are open for registration. So if you're interested, please type your email in the chat. We'll pick it up, and someone will reach out to you to follow up and just indicate which platform you'd be interested in, just to speed up the process. Could I now call upon? Could we then move on to our next section, which will be closing remarks from Simplicius Dube, who is our portfolio manager looking after Angola, Lesotho, Eswatini, and Mozambique. Over to you, Sim.
Thank you very much, Hans, and thank you so much to everyone who has made the time to be here. I think for us, as the USAID Trade Hub, this is a milestone for us. It's our first time in Angola, and it's not an accident that we are here, and we're happy to be here. My job is just to thank everybody, and it's not an accident that Netcampus are here, as I said, and that Africa Trade Platform are here. These have been our key partners that we've been working with, and we are continuing to work with them. So many thanks to you, partners. Again, our thanks to INVXT and JSN Agribusiness. These are the partners that have worked with us, have been through the trenches with us, and we're happy to see them here actually sharing their knowledge to our new partners in Angola. And again, our thank you to our participants. It might sound like a lot to bite, but it is going to be very much better as we go. So we really appreciate your time here, and we're going to be talking a lot more as we actually get involved in making sure that we increase exports out of Angola. I also want to just inform the participants that we do have a lot of resource information in our system. We've done a lot of webinars that actually talk to some of the activities that we're hoping to achieve in Angola. And I would actually advise our partners to go through our website, where they can actually access the videos and presentations from previous webinars. And there's actually a lot of information there that can actually help us to improve our exports to South Africa and to the US. And I would like also to just take this opportunity to invite our participants to our other activities that are going to be taking place very soon. We've got on the 17th of August, we are going to be hosting a webinar on linkages and sector market requirements on food products and food and cosmetics ingredients. So this will be very good for people that are looking to actually export. It gives you all the information that you need, that the buyers are actually looking for. So I'd actually invite our partners to join us on that webinar. On the 31st of August, we've got another webinar lined up, which is for Regional Export Trade Toolkit. So this toolkit really is to help exporters understand the terrain in which they actually walk through as they try and export. So it's very, very important to attend this webinar so that you learn a lot more. And this is in collaboration with the Grain Traders and Processors Association. So there's a lot more to learn for other partners that we work with. On the 12th of September, we're looking to have an Export Awards. This is actually an event that's organized out of South Africa, and we'll be looking to award the best performers from South Africa. So it's very nice to actually have a view of what's going on in the other countries. We always learn from each other. That's key to our activities. Go to the next slide. So what we are aware that we are in Angola for the first time, but we are happy to announce that we've got a team on the ground, a very dynamic team on the ground that's going to be collaborating at country level. And you are pretty free to reach out to our colleagues. At this stage, we've got our country program assistant, Benazia Silva. There's the email address at the bottom. Please feel free to reach out to her. She'll be able to share as much information as possible about our project and be able to help you on some issues. Some of them discussed here. We're actually happy to discuss some of the activities there and some of the resources in terms of what we do. So please feel free to contact her, and or even if you go through our website, that'd be great. You'll be able to reach out to us and be able to share all the information we have on our activities. Next slide, please. And again, I believe this has been quite an informative presentation, informative session, and we're hoping to actually meet with you partners as we go ahead and have more activities. And without taking too much time, I'd really like to thank everybody and declare our workshop closed and wish everybody a good day. Thank you. Over to you, Hans.
Thanks, Sim. And to all our participants, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to engaging with you on our next webinar, next session that we might have and will have in Angola. And thanks for making time. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.